When I first moved into the lakeside property, I thought it was going to be a peaceful retreat, a quiet escape from the noise of the city and the endless deadlines of my corporate job. But little did I know that the very moment the moving truck pulled out of my driveway, a pack of clipboard-wielding HOA members stormed onto my freshly cut lawn as if they owned the place, barking questions about membership fees, lake usage rights, and demanding that I immediately sign their community bylaws, which, according to them, included the small detail that my private lake technically belonged to the HOA for community use. And I remember standing there stunned, sipping coffee from a chipped mug, wondering how these strangers had the audacity to not even welcome me but instead demand ownership of something I had just spent my life savings on. My attorney had made it clear when I bought the property that the lake, docks, and shoreline rights were exclusively mine, so when I calmly told them that I wasn't interested in joining their little neighborhood dictatorship, their faces twisted with a mixture of shock and rage, especially that of their president, a wiry man with an over-polished smile named Carl, who leaned forward as if to intimidate me and muttered that I had no choice, because this is how things work around here. But I only smiled back and reminded him that contracts and deeds speak louder than HOA threats, which seemed to shake their confidence for a brief moment, though not enough to stop them from slapping a notice on my front door the very next morning, claiming I owed them fines for unapproved fencing, a violation for unauthorized water features. Yes, they meant my own lake, and even a fee for dock maintenance, despite the fact that the docks were mine, built decades before the HOA even existed, and that was the first twist of many, because what Carl and his smug little board didn't know was that the property deeds not only granted me ownership of the lake but also complete control over every dock connected to it, which meant their supposed community docks, the ones they used for fishing tournaments, 4th of July fireworks, and neighborhood parties, were technically mine to regulate, lease, or shut down completely. And when I pointed this out during their next confrontation, the color drained from their faces as if someone had just pulled the rug from under their empire. But instead of backing down, they doubled down, threatening lawsuits, spreading rumors about me being a selfish recluse, and even sneaking around my property taking pictures of supposed violations. Yet every time they tried to push me, I pushed back harder, first by sending them certified letters from my lawyer outlining the law, then by locking up the docks with heavy chains and posting signs that read, "Private property, trespassers will be prosecuted," which set the entire community ablaze with gossip and fury. But I wasn't done, because I knew the HOA thrived on control, on bullying new residents into submission, so I dug deeper into their bylaws and financials, eventually uncovering that Carl had been skimming funds, using HOA dues to finance his personal boat repairs and even a lavish vacation. And when I anonymously leaked this information at their annual meeting, the crowd turned on him so fast that he nearly tripped over his own chair trying to escape the barrage of angry questions. Yet even then, he refused to give up, instead rallying a handful of loyalists who began staging petty acts of revenge against me. Trash dumped on my lawn, fake noise complaints filed with the county, and even an attempt to cut the locks on my docks in the middle of the night. But what they hadn't realized was that I had installed cameras and motion lights. And when the footage went viral online showing Carl himself with bolt cutters in hand, the HOA board scrambled to save face, claiming it was all a misunderstanding, though the damage had already been done, because now not only the neighborhood but the entire county knew about the scandal, and I suddenly found myself with allies I never expected, including longtime residents who had been bullied into silence for years but now saw me as the person willing to stand up to the tyrants. And together we started fighting back in ways that left the HOA gasping for air. Petitions to dissolve their charter, mass refusals to pay dues, and public rallies on the lake shore that I graciously hosted, turning my once quiet property into the center of a full-blown rebellion. But just when it seemed like the HOA was about to collapse entirely, Carl played his final card, producing what he claimed was an old amendment that transferred lake rights to the association, waving around a crumpled piece of paper like it was the smoking gun. But my lawyer quickly pointed out that not only was the document fraudulent but Carl's signature on it didn't even match his legal records, and when pressed under oath during a county hearing, he cracked, admitting that he had fabricated evidence in a desperate attempt to cling to power. And that was the moment the HOA officially crumbled, their charter revoked, their bank accounts audited, and their authority stripped away, leaving me not just the owner of the lake and docks but the accidental hero of the neighborhood, the one who exposed years of corruption and intimidation, And as I sat on my porch watching the sunset reflect off the water, I couldn't help but laugh at the irony that their very first demand, to hand over my lake, had become the very noose that hung them, because in trying to control me, they handed me the power to destroy them, and though I never asked for this war, I realized sometimes peace only comes after you've burned down the tyranny that tried to own you. So if you've ever wondered whether standing up to an HOA is worth it, let this story be your answer, because not only did I keep my lake, I ended up controlling their docks, their secrets, and ultimately, their fate.